I'll share with you to this day. It's a mystery to me why. But the opportunity to clear the virus was actually known, I think, by Collins and by Fauci, that it did not clear the virus.
The spike vaccines.
The spike vaccine.
The Pfizer, Moderna.
The antibody vaccine does not, and to this day, does not clear the virus.
That seems like a big deal.
Well, just what we talked about. If you don't clear the virus, and you have pieces of the virus in there, especially spike, whether from the infection or from the vaccine, and now you get another infection. Now the virus brings along this nucleic capsid. Now it reconjoins and replicates again in these, what they call privileged sites. 2 years later, is what we're seeing. Now we're back to persistence. That's now published just months ago. And this is what I shared with NIH secretly 4 months ago. And persistence, asymptomatic persistence, but with inflammation and reduction of P53 and immunosuppression are all the hallmarks and recipes for cancer. And coming back to your first question is, why are we seeing an increase in young people? I think all of the above. The toxins, the history, the red dye, the PFAS, the COVID, all of the above.
Does both COVID and the COVID vaccine lower over time the human immune system?
The vaccine itself upregulates temporarily the antibodies. But if the vaccine, the spike protein breaks off and the RNA or DNA goes into the cells, and whether from infection or the vaccine, that's where the controversy is, right? It could be both. And the vaccine doesn't clear the virus. That's the key. It doesn't clear the virus.
And that's why we were told, of course, you take the virus and then you can't get COVID or transmit it, but neither one turned out to be true. Demonstrably untrue. I mean,
well, it's not only demonstrably untrue, it was knowingly untrue. That's what's bad about it.
It would seem like that's criminal, actually. I mean, if I tell you that, you know, this car gets 40 miles to the gallon and instead it blows up, that's a crime. You can't sell anything under false pretenses. That's a crime. I don't see how this is not a crime, but.
Well, as you said over breakfast, it's not a conspiracy if it's true.
I believe you're writing a book with that title. You probably have no idea where your meat comes from. You probably should know. The likelihood is that the meat you're eating passed through a massive industrial processing plant, probably owned by a foreign corporation. Foreign meat. Did you sign up for that? We don't think you did. So you probably have no idea of knowing where the animal grew up, what that animal ate, or what chemicals Big Food pumped into that animal to increase profits. That's all kept secret, meaning you can never really know what you're putting in your mouth and in your body. That's disgusting if you think about it, and it's easy to fix. Merriweather Farms, a farm owned by friends of ours, is a great option. We use their meat, we eat their meat for every meal. Unlike corporate farmers, Merriweather Farms controls the entire thing, from the pasture the cattle graze on to the facility where the beef is packaged. In Wyoming and across the Mountain West, the cattle are raised without hormones, without antibiotics, or any other additive. Clean American beef you can trust every single time, and they will ship it straight to your door. Go to merriweatherfarms.com/Tucker. Use the code Tucker2025 for 10% off your first order. You can also save on a monthly subscription if you sign up today. That's merriweatherfarms.com/Tucker. We eat it and vouch for it. So, and you know that they knew, you've established for a fact that the developers of this and our public health authorities knew that the COVID vax would neither prevent infection nor transmission.
Yes. And worse, I think, it's not well known that during the first President Trump election, he offered me a position. And I turned it down because I said to him, I really could help him from outside in better than, and I had too much to do. I literally was working on this, thank God, working on this potential cure for cancer as well as clearing the virus with COVID. This what I call the missing link, which we can talk about, this activator of the unnatural killer cells, this bioshield. And we have this bioshield now. So it was the right decision for me not to go into the government during that time and to stay out.
This was 16, 17.
Correct. But worse, I've since discovered, not by my inquiry, but it's been revealed to me, emails about Francis Collins and some politicians work hard to prevent me from even becoming head of NIH. And I think that was the motivation all the way downstream, that we asked, okay, so what happened to this vaccine? So I called the FDA and said, okay, I can't do a randomized placebo-controlled trial now because you got Pfizer's Moderna vaccines all over the place. So let me be the booster. And Peter Marks, to his credit, was the one who said, absolutely. Peter Marks, to his credit, was the one who says, I'm worried about this COVID vaccine and this long COVID. I want to study the effects of this vaccine. Peter Marks would then say to me, Patrick, fine, go ahead. I injected the first 3 patients as a booster. I get the call from the FDA to say, you have to stop. I said, why? To this day, they never explained to me it wasn't Peter. It was people around Peter said, you must stop. So we stopped. And there was nothing more we could do anyway because we didn't have any of the resources, the money, the supplies to complete a phase 3.
So the government has a monopoly on some of the materials that you need to do this kind of testing in a biolab. Is that correct?
Correct. But now we're into Biden era. So now we're in the Biden era that said, I must stop. This is 2020 now. So now it was during the Biden era. And I think there was this, sadly, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but now I've come to realize there truly was a deep state inside there that had a motivation beyond, it's sad to say, it's the most devastating to say, beyond public health. And I just tweeted recently of how so few people could hurt so many.